What kind of work?
Well, briefly, we're doing everything we can to make things as difficult for the Germans as we can. In every way that we can. From blowing up their troop trains to putting chalk in their ink. The French are magnificent, of course. But they have to be organized and supplied. We need liaison people. It's quite a job.
Yes. Yes, I suppose it is.
Au revoir, Yann. Merci.
Au revoir, bonne chance.
You go ahead. I'll cover you. Make my own way.
No. We stay together.
At the cinema, with the education team, we always try to mark special occasions, and we always celebrate 2 special months, Women's History Month and Black History Month. This year, the topic that we've chosen is the female heroines of the SOE in the Second World War. And in order to mark that, we've got a very interesting programme this year, which falls into 3 parts. The first part is a drama group reenacting part of the SOE story. The second part is one of my team, Lynn, and myself choosing 2 female agents, key agents, and we've taken 1 each, and we're going to tell you more about them. And the third part, if our audience want to do this, is an extra ticket which they have to purchase for a visit in the afternoon of the day to the Military Aviation Museum. Tangmere, the agents flew from there, and we are going to mark that by looking at the exhibition at the museum, which is an additional bonus to the day.
The SOE, which is the Special Operations Executive, which was the organisation which was set up to put agents into France to disrupt the German occupation and to help with the French resistance movement.
The morning session is 10:30 to 12:30 in the auditorium at the cinema on the 19th of March, and the afternoon starts at 2 o'clock, so people can have lunch in between at the Aviation Museum at Tangmere for as long as they want. The museum closes at 5, so they can come and go as they wish. There's a very good cafe there, they can have lunch, and it should be a really, really exciting day. To give you more detail then of each part, in the first part, Deborah Clare, who leads the drama section, is going to take the part of Vera Atkins, and here she is talking about it.
Hello, my name's Deborah, and I'm really excited to be coming to Chichester Cinema at New Park to tell you all about my new play, which is about 2 remarkable women of the World War II Special Operations Executive, Vera Atkins and Noor Inayat Khan. Now, Vera Atkins was responsible for the preparation for sending agents into the field, and Noor Inayat Khan was one of those agents, trained as a wireless operator. It was a very dangerous job, and it had a life expectancy of about 6 weeks. But Noor was very clever, and she managed to evade capture here in Paris for about 4 months before she was caught and captured by the Gestapo. So it will be myself, Deborah, who's playing Vera, and it will be my colleague Natasha J. Henry, who is playing Noor. And we'll be telling you about how we're approaching those roles and sharing a scene with you from the play. And we'll also be telling you where you can see the play in the Chichester area.
I think we assess the chances of coming through at no more than 50%. Tell me who you are.
Je m'appelle Jean-Marie Renier.
Code name? Accompany the agents out to the field, see them into their planes.
There was fear. But fear was the enemy, and it wasn't going to help us.
Will you help us? Die Genfer Konvention besagt.
The Geneva Convention does not apply here. These are not soldiers. These are spies.
You were captured by the secret police.
That shouldn't stop us. You're doing it for all of us, all of your girls.
I am. And it's the least I can do for you.
Violette Szabo is one of the heroines of World War II, and her name will be forever linked with courage and sacrifice. She was born in Paris to Anglo-French parents. Her mother was French and her father was English. Being brought up in France, she could speak fluent French, although apparently she did so with a very strong London Cockney accent. They moved to Britain when Violette was 3 years old, so she was brought up in Britain. She was awarded a posthumous George Cross, which is obviously the highest award for bravery in this country, and also the Croix de Guerre in France. After the death of her husband, she was recruited by the SOE. She worked as a courier and worked on her own most of the time, which involved travelling around various parts of France on her own, so extremely dangerous things to do. So what led this young, beautiful woman to become a British agent? The different variations of it, I was reading the book about her life, her biography, and it says that it was basically because her husband was killed.
Mr. Potter, please.
Fourth floor.
Thank you.
Mrs. Szabo.
Good morning, my name's Potter. Come and sit down, won't you?
Thank you.
Well, I suppose you're wondering why I sent for you.
I expect it's about the pension.
I understand you're partly French, Mrs. Szabo.
My mother is French.
And your husband was in the French army?
Yes. He was killed at El Alamein 6 months ago.
Yes. Yes, I know. I'm sorry. You speak French yourself, of course.
Yes, I was brought up to speak French and English.
And you're quite an athlete, I'm told. And you're something of a crack shot with a rifle.
Mr. Potter, if it's about the pension, I really don't
Well,
see
actually,
what-
Mrs. Szabo, it's not about the pension.
But you wrote to me.
Yes, I know. Ministry of Pensions. That's not correct. I belong to quite a different department.
What I hope my talk will reveal are the facts behind the extraordinary young woman who had a tragically short life. It will be about her capture and imprisonment at Ravensbrück concentration camp, and she was murdered at the end of the war, just as the Americans were arriving. My talk will also include a couple of clips from the film Carve Her Name with Pride, Violette, played by Virginia McKenna.
Mademoiselle, I have a message from Madame Bonneau.
She's not here.
Is Monsieur Bonneau here?
Neither my mother nor my father are here.
Well, what time will they be back? I must see them urgently.
They've been taken by the Germans. And I don't want to be seen talking to you.
And Virginia McKenna was very much involved with family after the war.
The film I'm going to talk about is called Odette. The director of the film was Herbert Wilcox, who was the husband of the star of the film, Anna Neagle, who played Odette. The male lead in the film, Captain Peter Churchill, was played by Trevor Howard, who many of you will also remember for his role in Brief Encounter. The clip that I've chosen starts not with Odette herself, but with the man who recruited her, who was called Maurice Buckmaster, and he appears at the beginning of the clip and gives an overview of the female agents of the SOE, and then he focuses on what he identifies as one of the most courageous of all the female agents, Odette.
My name is Maurice Buckmaster. I've been asked to say a foreword to this story. My only claim to do so is that, as their commanding officer, I knew intimately all the volunteers who formed the French section of Special Forces, the firm, as we called it sometimes. And I know, therefore, that this story is a true one. The people you'll see on the screen are playing, as accurately as human memory permits, the parts of men and women who are or were then alive.
She was recruited almost by accident, because the agency that recruited these women was asking for postcards. The BBC appealed for listeners to send in old postcards of the French coastline taken before the war. And Odette had some of these photographs, so she contacted Maurice Buckmaster's organisation. But in doing that, she revealed a lot about herself, including the fact that she could speak fluent French. So he was immediately interested in her and explained to her that being a native French speaker, she could do much more for the war effort than a few postcards. But if she chose to volunteer, the danger was her chance of survival could be as little as 50%. Now, Odette had 3 children. Leaving those in a convent school in the care of nuns, she sacrificed being with her children.
Francoise, I'm just going away to Scotland.
So very reluctantly, she agreed to become an agent. She donned the uniform as a disguise of a nurse in a company called the First Aid Nursing Yeomanry. And after several grueling months of training, she was sent to work as a courier, landing near Cassis in southern France. She there contacted her leader, who was a man called Captain Peter Churchill, codenamed Raoul, and he persuaded London that Odette should work for him.
Meanwhile, am I to do nothing but to carry messages, to find food?
Yes, have a ma. I'll get you one.
Oh, no, thank you, I do not drink.
You don't drink? You don't smoke? So far, I haven't even heard you swear. Well, never mind. We'll soon change all that. Lise, you've been here for 10 days now, and I've been sizing you up.
You've been sizing me up.
Yes, I think you'll do. I'm going to give you a job.
Oh, that is very kind of you.
Well, you may not think so when I tell you what it is. It's to go to Marseille. I warn you, the town is stiff with Gestapo, German soldiers, and Vichy police. And it's no small job. It's to pick up the plans of the port and get them away to London. Will you do it?
But of course.
Good. As a woman, you have a better chance than a man. When you get to Marseille, go to a cafe on the waterfront called Oscar's. It's pretty low up. But you'll find Jacques there.
This event will take place at New Park Cinema Auditorium on the 19th of March at 10:30 a.m. It will run for approximately 2 hours, and the second part of this event will take place at Tang Military Aviation Museum in the afternoon. Tickets are available in the normal way online or at the box office in person.